Hi there. I hope you're ready to dive deep into an issue that many of us wrestle with. This invisible force, often masquerading as a golden ticket to success, could, in fact, be your greatest hindrance. We're talking about the elusive pursuit of perfection. It's time to unmask this imposter and reclaim the healthy, joyful life that awaits you beyond its grasp. Sound like a plan? Let's get started. Perfectionism is often linked with self-worth. You see, perfectionists gauge their value based on their accomplishments. The result is a damaging cycle of relentless striving, inevitable failure, because let's face it, perfection is an impossible standard, and crippling self-criticism. It's a hamster wheel that can be exhausting to run on. Perfectionism, it's a word that seems to imply commendable diligence and dedication. However, in reality, it's far from being a positive trait. It's not about being meticulous or setting high standards, it's about an inherent fear, the fear of making mistakes, the dread of not living up to the towering expectations, and the terror of being judged or criticized. In contrast to healthy ambition, perfectionism can push you toward unrealistic goals and punish you when they're not met. It isn't fueled by a love for what you're doing or even a desire to improve. Instead, it's driven by fear. A fear that without that perfect outcome, you're somehow inadequate. By this point, you might be realizing that perfectionism isn't all it's cracked up to be. But, recognizing this and knowing what to do about it are two different things. After all, understanding the enemy is only half the battle. Next, you need a battle plan. But, don't worry, that's what we're here for. Now that we've established what perfectionism is, let's delve into why it's such a big problem. You see, the relentless pursuit of perfection doesn't come without a cost. It can lead to a host of issues, both psychological and physical. High levels of chronic stress, anxiety, and depression are commonly associated with perfectionism. Moreover, perfectionism can breed a persistent feeling of dissatisfaction. No matter how hard you try or how much you achieve, it always feels like it's not enough. This constant feeling of falling short can rob you of the joy and contentment that you should be experiencing. Over time, this can impact your relationships too. When you're so focused on striving for perfection, you may overlook the things that truly matter, like spending quality time with loved ones, creating shared memories, or simply enjoying the present moment. Lastly, when your body is constantly in overdrive, trying to keep up with your unrelenting standards, it can lead to physical health issues. Chronic stress has been linked with numerous health problems, including heart disease, digestive problems, and weakened immunity. Now, wouldn't you agree that no amount of perfection is worth compromising your health? So, how do you know if you're caught in the clutches of perfectionism? Well, here are some telltale signs. If you find yourself setting incredibly high, often unattainable standards, that's a red flag. Now, don't get me wrong. It's good to aim high, but not when your goals are so lofty that they set you up for inevitable failure. Another common trait of perfectionism is the all-or-nothing mindset. This black and white thinking makes you believe that anything less than perfect is unacceptable, a disaster, even. This mentality leaves no room for the ebb and flow of real life, where not everything goes according to plan, and that's okay. The fear of making mistakes is another major hallmark of perfectionism. The thought of messing up fills you with dread because, to a perfectionist, mistakes aren't seen as a natural part of learning and growing. Instead, they're viewed as a sign of incompetence. Other traits to look out for include a constant need for control, finding it difficult to delegate tasks because no one else can do it perfectly, constantly comparing yourself to others, and procrastinating out of fear of not doing things perfectly. Now, if any of these traits sound familiar, don't fret. Identifying the problem is the first step to solving it. By this point, you might be wondering, well, I see myself in some of these traits, but does this mean I shouldn't strive to be better? The answer is a resounding no. You absolutely should strive for growth and improvement. The key is to shift from unhealthy perfectionism to healthy striving. But, how do we do that? The first step in this shift is to set realistic and flexible goals. Yes, challenge yourself, but don't set yourself up for failure by aiming for unachievable targets. And remember, it's okay to adjust your goals as circumstances change. Flexibility isn't a sign of weakness, it's a testament to your resilience. Next, understand that mistakes aren't fatal, they're the stepping stones to growth. Think about it. Every great invention, every masterpiece, was likely the result of countless trials and errors. So, instead of fearing mistakes, welcome them. They're your teachers, not your enemies. Lastly, shift your focus from the outcome to the process. Instead of obsessing over the end result, enjoy the journey. Celebrate your progress, no matter how small it may seem. After all, life isn't a race, it's a dance. And the beauty of a dance doesn't lie in reaching the other end of the room, it's in the grace and joy of each step. To overcome perfectionism, you need to cultivate a strong ally, self-compassion. This means being kind to yourself, especially when things don't go as planned. It's about treating yourself with the same care, understanding, and support that you'd extend to a dear friend who's having a tough time. Instead of beating yourself up over mistakes or perceived shortcomings, show yourself some grace. Recognize that no one is perfect, we all stumble, and that's okay. It's not these stumbles that define us, but how we pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off, and keep going. A helpful tool for practicing self-compassion is to use positive affirmations. When you catch yourself slipping into self-criticism, stop and replace that negative thought with a positive one. For instance, instead of saying, "I messed up," "I'm such a failure," say, "I made a mistake, but that's okay. I'm learning, and I'll do better next time." Another practical way to cultivate self-compassion is through mindfulness meditation. By focusing on the present moment, without judgment, you learn to accept yourself as you are, without needing to change or fix anything. There are plenty of resources online to guide you in this practice. Give it a try, your future self will thank you. Now, this might sound counterintuitive, but to overcome perfectionism, we must embrace imperfection. Now, I'm not suggesting you throw standards out the window. What I mean is that it's time to let go of the unrealistic, rigid standards of perfection and appreciate the beauty of imperfection. You see, imperfections are what make us human, unique, and real. They're what make us relatable. Wouldn't you agree that a perfect person is hard to relate to? They seem untouchable, unreachable. But a person who embraces their flaws, who laughs at their mistakes, who shares their struggles, that's someone we can connect with. Moreover, when we embrace our imperfections, we give ourselves the freedom to experiment, to take risks, to learn, and to grow. We free ourselves from the suffocating constraints of perfection and open ourselves to a world of possibilities. So, my friend, let's strive to be perfectly imperfect. One practical way to embrace imperfection is to practice the Japanese philosophy of wabi-sabi, which finds beauty in imperfection and impermanence. Try to find beauty in your own flaws, and in the world around you. When you start to view imperfection as beautiful, the weight of perfectionism begins to lift. Another essential step in overcoming perfectionism is cultivating patience. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither were you. Progress takes time, and it's rarely linear. There will be ups and downs, and that's okay. The important thing is to keep moving forward, no matter how slow you may think you're going. When you're working towards a goal, don't expect immediate results. Instead, acknowledge each step you take towards that goal, no matter how small. Celebrate your small victories, and don't let minor setbacks deter you. Remember, every step forward, no matter how tiny, is progress. It's also important to give yourself permission to take breaks. Don't push yourself to the point of burnout in your pursuit of perfection. Listen to your body and your mind. If you need a break, take it. Rest, rejuvenate, and then get back on track. You'll be far more effective and happier for it. In this fast-paced world, where we're used to instant gratification, patience can be a tough virtue to master. but it's worth the effort. Because, in the end, the journey is just as important, if not more so, than the destination. So, take a deep breath, slow down, and savor the journey. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, we may find ourselves unable to shake off the shackles of perfectionism. It's deeply ingrained in us, and it can be hard to break free on our own. If this is the case for you, please know that it's okay to seek professional help. There's no shame in reaching out for support. Psychotherapists, counselors, and life coaches are trained to help you navigate these waters. Cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, in particular, has been found to be effective in addressing perfectionism. It helps you identify and challenge your perfectionist thoughts and beliefs, replace them with healthier ones, and change your behavior accordingly. Another effective approach is acceptance and commitment therapy, ACT, which focuses on accepting your thoughts and feelings, rather than fighting them, and taking action based on your values, rather than letting your thoughts dictate your actions. With the right guidance, you can learn to free yourself from the grip of perfectionism and live a healthier, more fulfilling life. And remember, seeking help doesn't mean you're weak or flawed. It simply means you're human, and you're doing your best to grow and improve. That, my friend, is a sign of strength, courage, and wisdom. So, if you're struggling, don't hesitate to reach out. Help is just a call or click away. Folks, we've demystified perfectionism, understood its pitfalls, and explored practical strategies to overcome it. The road to overcoming perfectionism may seem long and winding, but each step you take is a step towards a healthier, happier you. So, take that first step today. You're worth it.